This session will focus on update and delete functionalities in the user manager module. In enterprise applications, user manager does not stop with creating users. Administrators must also be able to update user information and remove or deactivate users securely when required. In this session, we will understand how front-end and back-end systems works together to perform secure update and delete operations. By end of the session, you will be able to understand the design and implementation of update and delete functionalities in user manager module, develop RESTful APIs for updating and deleting user records using Spring Boot and past API integration concepts, retrieve and modify existing user information securely through backend services, implement user deletion or user status management functionalities in the backend application, integrate front-end update user and delete user functionalities with backend APIs. This session is important because efficient user management is a key requirement in scalable backend systems. Let's start implementation. First, go to the project location and open front-end latest version 4.0 in VS Code. Then open backend gateway project in VS Code. And then open the project core services in Spring Tools. Then open the file user services from the package mth.services. Go to the end. To perform update operation, first we need to fetch the data from the database, then modify the data. Finally, the modified data will be saved permanently on the database. To fetch data from the database, we need to create a method get user by ID. So ID will act as a primary key. So based on the ID, we must fetch the record from the database first. So create a method public with return type object. Just name the method as get user by ID and take two inputs. One is the primary key with the data type long and another one is token with the data type string. Inside, create a response object using map string as a data type for key and object is a data type for value. Name of the object as response and initialize by using new as map. Then create try catch for exception handling. Finally, return the response object. So let us complete the catch block. So return the response with status code 500. Then response dot put message from e dot get message. Then inside try block, first validate the token by using the object of JWT service class and call the method validate token and pass the received token as an input. This will authorize the token. Next, fetch the record from the database table by using its primary key as an input. So create object for the entity class users equal to by using the object of user repository and call the method find by ID and pass the primary key as an input and get data from the database. Then return a response with the success code 200 response dot put code as 200 and response dot put set key as a user and pass value from the object user. Now the method get user by ID first validate the received token for authorization. Once token is authorized, then it will fetch the data from the database and return a response with success code 200 along with the user's data. Next, go to the package mth.controller, open the file userscontroller.java, create a new endpoint by using @get mapping and set name of the endpoint as get user with the path variable id. Then create a method public object get user with two parameters. One is long id and another one is string token. Then map the path variable id with the parameter long id by using the annotation @path variable within bracket use double quotes and mention the path variable name. Then add the annotation @request header because the token will be taken from the request header. Inside add a return statement by using object of user service and call the method get user by id and pass these two parameters as a input. Then save. Then start its execution. So right click on the project name, run as Spring Boot app. Then start the execution of gateway project. Activate the virtual environment. Then execute the file run.py by using the command python space the file name run.py. Then create a new endpoint to get user data by using id. So let me copy the endpoint get all users and paste it here and change the endpoint name as get user and the path variable as id. Then change the function name as get user. So update the parameters to receive value from the path variable. So id declared as int and second one to receive token from the request header. Then change the endpoint URL while connect with the Spring Boot, that is get user, and pass the value of id in the path variable. Then save. Once the application is restarted, go to front end project, start its execution. Then log in by using admin credential. And go to the module user manager. Try to click on any one of the edit icon. It will fetch data from the table and display those data on the front end. Now the user can modify the data, then they click on the update button to save the changes permanently into the database. To save the changes permanently into the database, we need to create a method in the Spring Boot application. So return back to Spring Boot application and open the file user-service.java. At the end of the class, must create a method to update the user's data into the database. So create a method with the name update user and take two parameters. One is primary key and another one is token. Inside, create response object by using map. Then create try catch to handle the exception. Finally, return the response object. Complete the catch block by setting response dot put with code number 500 and set error message by using response dot put message from e dot get message. Then inside try block by using the object of JWT service class and validate the token by using the method validate token and pass the received token as an input. This is for authorization. Next, create a temporary object for the entity class user and fetch data from the database by using the object of user repository with find by id method and pass the primary key as an input and try to get the data from the database. Then create an object in the parameter to receive the updated data from the front end. So add a second parameter by using the object of entity class users. Next, we need to update the data on the temporary object by using the received data from the front end. So we can update temp dot set full name from the parameter u dot get full name. Next, update the phone number temp dot set phone by using the received data from the object u dot get phone. Then update the role temp dot set role from u dot get role. Then after updating a role of the user, we can update email and password. So temp dot set email by using u dot get email and then temp dot set password from u dot get password. Finally, we need to save the changes permanently into the database. So use object of user repository and call the predefined method save and pass the object temp to save the changes permanently into the database. Then return the response with the success code 200. So response dot put code as 200. Then response dot put add a success message. User has been updated. The update user method first fetch the data from the database by using its primary key, then make necessary changes. Finally, save the changes into the database and return the response with success code. User has been updated. Then go to the file users controller.java. Then create a new endpoint for update operation by using the annotation @put mapping and set endpoint name as update user with the path variable id to receive primary key from the front end. Then create a method with return type object, name of the method as update user with three parameter, one to receive primary key from the path variable and second one to receive the data from the request body. So create object for users entity class, then third one to receive the token. Then annotate the parameters. So first parameter is annotated by using the annotation at the rate path variable and map with the path variable id. And second parameter, the data can be taken from the request body. So use the annotation at the rate request body for second parameter. Third one is token. It will take data from the request header. So use the annotation at the rate request header. Inside, add a return statement by using object of user service and call the method update user and pass all these three parameters as an input. Then go to the gateway project, create a new endpoint for update operation. We can copy the endpoint save user and paste it. Change the method name as put because in Spring Boot we use the annotation at the rate put mapping for update operation. And change the endpoint name as update user with the path variable id. Then change the method name or function name as update user and create a parameter to receive data from the path variable id and declare it as int. And second one is data to receive data to make changes on the database. Third one is token to receive data from the header. Then replace the method client.post as client.put and update the endpoint name of Spring Boot, update user and pass primary key value along with the URL. Then save and go to the front end, make some changes and try to click on the update button. So let me change the user role from manager to admin for this particular user. If I click on update, we are getting a response from the backend. User has been updated. So click on OK. Then open pgadmin and execute select query for the table user and check the changes which we made in the front end is updated into the database. We updated the role of a user as admin. That's why the column role has a value 3. Next, go to the project core services and try to perform the delete operation. So open the file user service.java. At end of the class must create a method to perform delete operation. And take two parameter. One is the primary key which we want to delete and another one to receive the token. Inside, create a response object by using map and initialize by using new as map. Then create try catch for exception handling. Finally, return the response object. Then set error message in the catch block with code 500 and response dot put message from e dot get message. Inside try block, first validate the token by using the object of JWT service and call the method validate token and pass the received token as an input. After authorizing the request, we can use the object of user repository and call the predefined function delete by id and pass the received primary key as an input. This will perform delete operation in the database. Then return the response with success code 200. So response dot put code 200 and response dot put message as user has been deleted. So the method delete user first validate the token. Once the token is validated, then it delete the data from the database by using its primary key as an input. Finally, it returns the response with success code 200. User has been deleted. Then go to the class users controller.java, create a new endpoint to perform delete operation. So use the suitable endpoint @delete mapping and set endpoint as delete user with the path variable id to receive primary key. Then create a method public with return type object. Name of the method delete user with two parameters. One is long id to receive value from the path variable and another one is string token. Inside add return statement and use the object of user service and call the method delete user and pass the two parameters as an input. Then map the parameter long id with the path variable by using the annotation @path variable and mention the path variable as id and annotate the second parameter by using the annotation @request header. So token can be taken from the request header. Then save changes. Go to gateway project, add a new endpoint to perform delete operation. So we can copy the previous endpoint and paste it, change the method as delete and change the endpoint as delete user, change the function name and replace client.put as client.delete and update the endpoint URL. Make this function with only two parameter, one is id and another one is token. So we can remove the second parameter because it won't carry any data from the request header. So remove the second parameter as well as while sending request to the Spring Boot. Then go to the front end, try to delete some record. So let me delete by click on the delete icon. It will ask for the confirmation. If you click OK, the particular record is permanently deleted from the database and returns the acknowledgement as user has been deleted. Then click on OK, automatically the module will refresh. Now the record has been removed. Then go to pgadmin to cross check. As of now, the select query returns 5 record. If we execute select query once, now the result have only 4 records. So in this session, we have understood the update and delete functionalities in the user manager module, learned how front-end and back-end system communicates for CRUD operations, and explored secure user modification and deletion workflows. In the next session, we will continue implementing additional modules and developed backend functionalities in MicroTask Hub project.